Today we're going through a 2019 action crime movie called Avengement. The opening scene shows Cain Burgess, a convicted felon, arriving at the hospital in a prison van. He is there to visit his sick mother. Unfortunately, the doctor tells Cain and the prison guards accompanying him that his mother had already passed away. Cain, however, insists on seeing his mother's body. Inside the morgue with his mother's body, Cain takes a deep breath. He is then seen walking up to a bar where he is challenged by the bodyguards who insist that he can only enter the bar if he is a member. He beats them up and enters the bar. Already inside the bar, Bez, the bartender, serves Cain some whiskey. They have a little chat before she leaves him at the table. Meanwhile, some group of men, Mo, Vern, and Toon, who appear to be gang members, discuss in the bar about the disappearance of one of their kinsmen and the mysterious death of another. Toon tries to explain how the incident happened. There's a flashback showing he and Rook, the dead gangster, outside on a Tuesday night. Moments later, they are attacked by an unknown man. Toon explains as Rook gets knocked out and as he tries to go after the assailant. Unfortunately, the assailant runs away. Just then, Cain laughs from across the room. He challenges the group about what Toon has been saying and calls him a liar. They have a quick argument. Toon continues his story to the group, but he was cut short by Cain, who tells Toon to tell his mates the truth about the events of that night. Cain then reveals to the group that he is the one who attacked Rook and Toon that night, and Toon acts cowardly and runs away. Toon denies it. While having their argument, the bodyguards walk in and attack Cain, but he outsmarts them and brings out a shotgun. He threatens the crew and asks them for Lincoln, the crew's leader. Just then, Hyde barges out of the other room, ranting about the noise outside before spotting Cain with the gun. Hyde tries to figure out where he knew Cain from. Just then, he remembers Cain as Lincoln's baby brother. Hyde explains to the group that Cain got busted on a job and was sentenced to 5 years in prison, but Cain snaps and says it's 7 years now. Hyde then makes a joke about Cain's rough face. Up next, Cain goes to the bar door and locks it. He asks Bez to pour him a drink, but she refuses. While arguing with Bez, one of the crew tries to attack Cain, but Cain shoots him in the leg. He then asks them to drop their mobile phones in a water jar. Still screaming from the pain he's feeling from the gunshot wound, Cain kicks and knocks the injured crew member out to keep him quiet. Hyde asks Toon if Cain was the one who attacked them the other night, but he says he doesn't recognize him. Just then, Cain brings out a sack and tells Toon to open it. Upon opening it, they find Rook's hand in it. Cain then tells the crew he hopes that is enough proof he is the one that attacked Toon and Rook that night. Cain tells Bez to serve the crew a drink. Up next, Hyde walks to the bar, picks up a drink, and starts a conversation with Cain, asking if prison turned him into a stone-cold person. Cain replies to him that not the prison did that, but his brother, Lincoln. Cain then hits Hyde with the butt of his gun and tells him to call Lincoln and ask him to come over to the bar. The crew gets curious about how Cain got his scars. He tells them Hyde and Lincoln are responsible for every scar he got while in prison. In a flashback, Cain is seen in a room with Lincoln's crew, Rook and Lincoln's accountant, Stokes. Cain tells Lincoln he wants to see him outside, but Lincoln says he's in the middle of a card game and that Cain could say whatever he has to say right there. Cain sits down and tells Lincoln that he's got a business proposition for him. He adds that he's talked it through with their mom. Lincoln tells him if he wants to get the money, Cain has to do something for him. Cain refuses at first, but he later agrees. Lincoln tells him to go see Hyde and he will fill him in on all the details about the job. In the next scene, Hyde and Cain are talking in an office. Hyde brings out a plastic bag and tells Cain that at exactly 3 p.m. in the afternoon, Mabel, an associate of Lincoln, is going to come for the bag. After she's gone, Cain will have to follow her home and bring back the bag. Hyde adds that if she causes Cain any trouble, Cain should knock her out. Now back in the present day, Hyde tells Cain the story isn't going anywhere, but Cain snaps at him and says because of Hyde and Lincoln, he ended up in Hump Belmarsh, the most violent prison in England. Cain adds that he didn't have a criminal record, but he was thrown in the same unit as hardened criminals. Cain is seen walking from his room to the bathroom when he is blocked by one of the prisoners. This leads to a fight as Cain is attacked by some prisoners. A short while later, he gets subdued after putting up a good fight. He had his mouth smashed against the stairs. On the hospital bed, Cain complains about the kind of dentures he's given, but he accepts and says they make him look scary. In the next scene, Cain gets a visit from his mother, who complains about his health. She tells him that she spoke to another lawyer, but there's no money to pay him. Cain asks what Lincoln is doing to help, but his mother replies that Lincoln isn't doing anything. She adds that Lincoln says it's Cain's fault that he's in prison. His mother ends her visit by telling him not to bring himself low like the other prisoners. Cain narrates that he made up his mind afterward to look after himself. Sometime after his mother's visit, Cain gets attacked by 2 prisoners and gets hit in the face with an object, but he defends himself and beats them up. Just then, 2 guards come in and take him away. Cain is then seen arguing with a prison official about the events, and he tells him that he acted in self-defense. He adds that he needs a transfer to another prison facility, but the official tells him that his sentence has been increased by another year. Afterward, Cain narrates further that he kept on training to adapt to the prison life since he's got no choice. He explains he had to fight multiple prisoners to get better. While narrating, he tells them that he kept wondering why almost everybody in that prison wanted him dead. Then, one day it became clear to him after he beat up one of the prisoners who attacked him. The prisoner tells Cain that it's nothing personal and it was Lincoln that wanted him dead. Back in the present day with everyone still in the bar, Cain asks Hyde why he and Lincoln put a price tag on his head. Hyde denies it. Cain continues to narrate how he got stronger in prison. In a flashback, Cain is seen fighting some prisoners. Just then, one of them pours a liquid on his face. The prison official informs Cain that his sentence has been increased by another 2 years. Cain is seen in another scene fighting the prisoners, as he now takes joy doing it after accepting that this is the life he has now. Cain is informed that another year has been added to his sentence again, but Cain doesn't seem to care anymore. In multiple flash scenes, Cain can be seen going wild, fighting not with prisoners anymore but prison guards, which got him into solitary. In the next scene, Cain gets a visit from his mother, who tells him she comes visiting often, but every time she does, she is told that Cain is in solitary and cannot get the benefit of visits. Cain's mother then tells him that she has cancer and she won't be able to see him often again. She then adds that Lincoln is looking after her now. Just then, his mother asks him what he wanted to tell her about Lincoln, but Cain said it's nothing and that he is glad that Lincoln is looking after her. Back in the bar, Hyde says he is sorry and didn't know about Cain's mother. A flashback shows how Cain beats the prison guards in the elevator after going to see his mother. Now in the bar, Toon and Vern say they need a piss. Cain tells them to ease themselves in a corner of the bar. Just then, Hyde challenges him and says he didn't remember Cain being a gangster. Cain tells him he's been coming a long way since the day Hyde gave him the job to go get the bag from Mabel. In another flashback, Mabel is knocked out by a car while chasing after Cain. Afterward, Cain gets arrested. Now in the police station, the detective in charge, O'Hara, tells him how they have been monitoring Mabel since she's in connection with Lincoln, who is into the drug business. Cain asks for a lawyer, but he is denied. Cain tries to tell O'Hara and Evans, the 2 police officers in the room, that he doesn't know anything about his brother's illegal business. The police try to persuade him to snitch on his brother, but he says no. Cain is then taken to another room where he gets beat up by Evans without the permission of O'Hara. Back in the present day, Lincoln bangs on the door. Bez opens it and Lincoln comes in with 3 other people. Surprised, Lincoln tells Cain it is good to see him, but Cain tells him to take out his mobile phone and any weapon on him. At that time, Cain had a firearm pointed at Hyde's head as leverage. Lincoln tells Cain that he is not thinking straight after he checks the man Cain shot in the leg earlier and confirms that he is dead. Cain agrees that he is not thinking straight and adds that he has been violent since he found out that Lincoln put a price tag of £20,000 on his head in a very dangerous prison. Lincoln then tells Cain that he had a man inside the police station that was supposed to make everything go away. Cain rants and says he couldn't believe Lincoln trusted Evans over his own family. Lincoln tells Cain to give him his phone so he can call Evans, but Cain tells Lincoln Evans won't be able to answer the call because he's already gone to see Evans. In a flashback scene, Evans tells Cain he lied to Lincoln that Cain was going to snitch on him as the duo engages in a fight. After their short fight, Cain eliminates Evans by hitting him with metal on his head. Back in the bar, Cain and Lincoln argue about the events that have happened. Lincoln urges Cain to forget about his revenge mission. However, Cain mentions the name of people who have been affected by Lincoln's illegal business. Hyde provokes Cain and this gets him shot by Cain. Lincoln gets angry and tells Cain that he can't forgive him anymore now for what he's just done. Cain says he doesn't care and brings out a cell phone, telling Lincoln he got it from his accountant after he paid him a visit earlier. Later on, Cain shows Lincoln that he's moved all the money from his account, leaving him with just £100,000. Bez tells Cain the revenge he's on will be his end. Cain then tells Lincoln that everything he has done is taking revenge for all the lives his brother has destroyed. In a flashback, O'Hara is seen making a deal with Cain, who is in a hospital bed after being attacked in the prison. Cain agrees to help O'Hara take down Lincoln if only he gets to see his mother. Now back in the bar, Cain tells the crew that they should all go and leave him and Lincoln alone since he's got no business with them. They refuse and tell him they are not going anywhere. Bez hits Cain with a bottle from behind. A fight ensues and Bez provides the crew with weapons, but Cain beats them up. During the fight, Toon opens the door and runs outside. Still fighting, Toon comes back in with a gun and aims to terminate Cain but shoots one of the crew instead. Cain gets the gun and shoots them. After Cain is done beating up the crew, he walks up to the bar and takes a drink. Lincoln asks him if all he has done is worth it and Cain says yes. Just then Lincoln brings out a gun to attack Cain, but fortunately for Cain the gun wasn't loaded. The duo engages in a fight. Cain terminates Lincoln with a blade and walks out of the bar. But before the scene cuts, it is revealed Cain divides Lincoln's wealth and distributes it to the families affected by Lincoln's illegal business, with each getting £15,000. Thanks for watching, guys.